Sayadaw had some things to do in Yangon, so Sayadaw could not give talk for about 3 days. And today Sayadaw will continue on the talks that Sayadaw had given. Last week, Sayadaw was explaining about Paṇḍitā Sayadaw, knowledge, knowing that good deeds bring good results and bad deeds bring bad results. This Paṇḍitā Sayadaw, it is the foundation, and it is also a junction where a person can take other by roads. When a person has constructed a road, one has to follow this road, one has to travel on this road. And when a person is going on a journey, one has to make use of vehicle, and it will be a smooth journey, making use of a good vehicle as well as a good road. And this Paṇḍitā Sayadaw is like the junction, and one has to make use of good vehicle. When one is traveling to a nearby place, one can walk, one can go by foot. But when one is traveling to a far away place, one has to use a vehicle. When the road is good and also the vehicle is good, and if there are no obstacles, one can get to the destination smoothly. So in the same way, when beings are traveling to the ultimate peace, one needs to be on a good road as well as on a good vehicle towards the genuine peace. If the road is blocked, one cannot go, and if one does not have vehicle, one might not be getting far. So that's why the road towards the one's destination, it should be open, and also one should have a good vehicle. So when one is walking towards this genuine peace, one needs to make use of vehicle. There are various vehicles: Jhana vehicle, Sucharita vehicle, which is the morality vehicle, Samatha vehicle, Vipassana vehicle, and Ariya Magga vehicle, path knowledge vehicle, and also there are Abhiññāna, supernormal knowledges. So when one has such vehicles, it will be smooth and convenient to go on this journey towards this peace. And among them, Pubbabhaga Magga vehicle, which is a preliminary path vehicle, and Ariya Magga vehicle, path knowledge vehicle, these two are the most important. Based on Paṇḍitā Sayadaw, one has to make use of Pubbabhaga vehicle. Pubbabhaga vehicle, the preliminary path vehicle, consists of 3: Sila, morality, Samadhi, concentration. Pubbabhaga road, one has to go on this Pubbabhaga road, preliminary path, and one has to make use of the vehicles: Sila vehicle, morality vehicle, Samadhi vehicle, concentration vehicle, and Paññā vehicle, wisdom vehicle. And one has to walk on this Pubbabhaga Magga, the preliminary path. When you walk on this preliminary path, one can get to Ariya Magga, path, knowledge. And by making use of this Ariya Magga vehicle, one can reach Nibbana, the genuine peace. And Sayadaw will explain on these vehicles and paths one by one. Among the vehicles, Sayadaw had explained about Dana vehicle to a certain extent. In order to build the Dana vehicle, whether one is offering little or much, without any expectation for personal gain, but in order to bring benefit and welfare for others. When one is able to do such kind of dana, one can overcome selfishness for oneself or one's own family or one's group. By doing dana without expecting personal gain, only expecting for the benefit and welfare of others, one overcomes extreme form of lobha, greed. And this kind of dana is a support to practice sila, morality, which is another vehicle. When performing dana, one has metta, loving kindness towards others, and compassion, karuna, towards others. Having metta and karuna towards others when performing dana, one also overcomes extreme form of lobha, dosa, and moha, greed, hatred, and delusion. So in this way, one will not be hurting others, one will not be killing or hurting others, one will not be committing sexual misconduct, or one will not lie. In this way, the path to misconduct will be blocked, and the path to this misconduct will be closed. And by refraining from such misconduct, the path to sucharita, the path to good conduct, will open up. And overcoming selfishness, having metta and karuna towards others, one is overcoming hatred kind of dosa. Having karuna, compassion, one is overcoming cruelty kind of dosa. If one cannot control one's extreme form of lobha and dosa, one commits misconduct. If one cannot overcome delusion, one commits misconduct. By overcoming extreme form of lobha, dosa, and moha, one will not be committing misconduct. So in this way, doing dana systematically with loving kindness, metta, and compassion, with the knowledge of Kammaskata Sammaditthi, then this kind of dana will be a support to practice sila, morality. Having Kammaskata Sammaditthi, having knowledge that good deeds bring good results, bad deeds bring bad results, one will refrain from misconduct, and one will perform good deeds. Performing good deeds, one will get benefits. Refraining bad deeds, one will not meet harm. In this way, by overcoming extreme form of lobha, dosa and moha, when doing such kind of jhana, one will not have this opportunity to perform misconduct. So in this way, one is practicing sucharita. Practicing sucharita involves refraining from misconduct by body, speech and mind. By refraining from misconduct by body and speech, one's body and speech will be pure and clean. And in order to perform mano sucharita, which involves the mind, one needs to practice Satipatthana meditation. By practicing Satipatthana meditation, one can refrain from mental misconduct. So in this way, in order to walk on this sucharita path, one needs sila, a vehicle. One needs morality vehicle. Having this morality vehicle, one can get to the destination of being reborn as a human or as a deva. Practicing sucharita is not enough. It is only the basic. When living in a society, one needs to share one's belongings with others from time to time. Doing dana, sharing with others, is one's responsibility in a society, and everyone must understand that one has this responsibility to share one's belongings with others. Doing dana, sharing things with others, is the deed that is making others to be well. One is supporting others to be well by performing dana. But it is not enough. One should also prevent oneself from hurting others. One should control oneself. One should control oneself not to commit misconduct, so that others will not be harmed, others will not meet suffering, physical and mental suffering. Having control of oneself, refraining from misconduct, others will not be harmed and others will be relieved from physical and mental suffering if one can control oneself. If one is controlling oneself, then one is also protecting others from being harmed. And by having self-control, one is practicing morality, and it is also a good foundation. But in order to control oneself, one also needs to control one's mind. Saraji gives an example. If one rolls down a ball from the top of a hill downwards, then the ball will tumble down without any control. In the same way, if one does not have control over oneself, one will tumble down just like a ball tumbles down the hill. So that's why one needs control of oneself. One needs to have samatha. One needs tranquility or calming of the mind in order to control oneself. And that's why samatha vehicle is necessary. if one does not make use of samatha jhana, then nivarana or hindrances can arise in the person apart from sleeping hours. Apart from sleeping hours, these nivarana or hindrances arise continuously without any break if one does not make use of this samatha jhana. Nivarana are the hindrances that hinder the person, that hinders the wholesome mind to arise. Having nivarana or hindrances, these wholesome minds have no chance to arise. Nivarana, these hindrances, make the mind polluted so that the mind will not be pure. And also, these nivaranas block or hinder so that avarana, nivarana, they block and hinder so that wholesome mind cannot arise. And also, these nivaranas make the mind polluted, and also it weakens knowledge, and also it can hinder so that knowledge cannot arise at all. Usually, people are having these 5 kinds of nivarana, hindrances, all the time. And among these 5 nivaranas, people have kama chanda, sensual desires, wanting good, pleasant objects. Because people are from this sensual world, they are spending much of their time wanting good things, desirable objects, and so on. And at times, when they meet undesirable objects, there can be anger and hatred. When greed arises, there will be no chance for wholesome mind to arise, and also knowledge cannot arise. When there is anger, dissatisfaction, or hatred, wholesome mind has no chance to arise. And when there is tinamita, sloth and torpor, especially during practice when yogi is having tinamita, sloth and torpor, the mind will not be sharp, the mind will not be alert, but instead the mind will be cold, sluggish, and lazy. When tinamita is present, when sloth and torpor is present, one does not want to exert effort. One will feel, one does not want to exert effort, and one feels exhausted. The mind will flinch back, the mind will withdraw from practice. And Saraji gives an example like the butter that is kept in the fridge, it will be hard and cold. In the same way, when there is tinamita, sloth and torpor, the mind will be sluggish, cold, just like a refrigerated butter. And when a person has remorse or regret, when one recalls bad deeds that the person had done before, or when one has recalled that one has not done wholesome deeds in the past, one has this nirvana of remorse. And also, when one does not believe in things that are worthy of faith and confidence, there will be skeptical doubt, there will be uncertainty or confusion, and this is also one of the nirvanas. And one needs samatha so that one can overcome nirvanas. And having samatha, one can tranquil the mind, suppress the mind, so that the mind is free from nirvana hindrances. That's why it is said that Paṇḍitā Sayadaw, one can tranquil the mind by suppressing the opposite mental states that keeps the mind polluted. Having samatha, one's mind will be tranquil, and one's mind will be tranquil by suppressing the opposite states, such as nirvana hindrances. Building samatha jhana, samatha vehicle, there are various ways to practice. And yogis are not practicing samatha alone, so Jaraji will not explain in detail. But Jaraji will explain briefly. When one wants to practice samatha, one can practice Anapana, one can contemplate on the breath, and also there are other ways of practicing samatha, such as Paṭavī-kasina, where one contemplates on this earth device. When one is practicing Paṭavī-kasina, one arranges a device, earth device, in a disc, and one has to contemplate on this earth, contemplating as earth or Paṭavī. The mind should be concentrated on the object. The mind should be aimed towards the object, and the mind should be concentrated towards the object. When the mind is direct with the object, the noting mind rubs onto the object. When the noting is effective, the noting will be effective. In order that the noting will be effective, one needs to aim the noting mind towards the object. Aiming the noting mind towards the object is one of the jhanic factor. When one aims the noting mind towards the object, the noting mind will be direct or face to face with the object. So one needs to apply vitakka, aiming, directing the noting mind towards the object, so that the noting will be effective. And also, one needs sustained application, which is called vichara. And when this vichara, sustained application, is present, the noting mind rubs onto the object. Having these two factors, vitakka and vichara, every single second, the noting will be effective. Having these factors, vitakka and vichara, there will not be kamatanda, nirvana, there will not be sensual desire. So this jhana factor is tranquiling the mind so that these nirvana and hindrances are suppressed. And also there will not be Javada Nirvana, there will not be ill will. When the noting mind is direct or face to face with the object, the mind will not be agitated, and the mind will not be agitated. Having Tinamita, sloth and torpor, the mind is constricted and contracted. When there is Vitakka and Vichara present, the mind is fresh, open, and it will be blossomed. So in this way, Tinamita will be overcome when one can apply this Vitakka. And when the mind is free from Tinamita, the mind will be pure and clean, and the mind will be tranquil. When the noting mind sticks onto the object, the mind will not run elsewhere, and thus uddhacca, restlessness, has no chance to arise. And also, when the noting mind rubs onto the object, the noting will be effective, and also there will not be remorse or regret. And when the noting mind rubs onto the object, there will not be any uncertainty or doubt, and thus the mind will be free from skeptical doubt. When the noting is effective, with this having Vitakka and Vichara present, the mind will not be agitated by the nirvana, and thus the mind will be pure, tranquil, and samatha is developed, and it is called samatha jhana or samatha yana, samatha vehicle. So practicing samatha, when the noting mind is face to face or direct with the object, and when the noting mind rubs onto the object, the mind will be clear, serene, and pure, and there can be joy, satisfaction, happiness, comfort, and also collectedness of the mind, one-pointedness of the mind. And thus, there will be 5 jhanic factors. Having these 5 jhanic factors, and when there is 5 jhanic factors, there will be the first jhana. And when one overcomes the jhana factors of Vitakka and Vichara, one will develop the second jhana. And overcoming piti, there will be the third jhana, and so on. And one can also go on to arupa jhana. Having attained jhana, one can be reborn as a Brahma, where the lifespan is very long. The Brahmas live a lot longer than the human and the deva, and there is no explanation in the text why the Brahmas live so much longer than deva and human. But if it is explained scientifically, it will be clear, and Sayadaw will explain in a scientific way why the Brahmas can live long if Sayadaw gets the opportunity. When one has attained jhana, these nivranas are not present. So nivranas will be overcome. There will be no nivrana when one has attained jhana. So the jhana has suppressed the nivranas, and there will be no agitation by these nivranas. So the jhana can suppress the nivrana so that it will be there will be tranquility. If one can develop jhana continuously, then the Cetana, volition, can keep the person, can prolong the person's life as a Brahma. So as much the jhana is stronger, one can live longer as a Brahma. And Sayadaw gives an example. The material things that are subject to heat and cold, they perish easily. So when food or objects are put in a cold storage, they last longer. And when things are put in a very cold place, maybe minus 190 degrees or so, these objects last a lot longer. So in the place where there is the temperature is minus 190 degrees or so, the molecular activity of the object will be calmed. So there is this study called cryogenic, where things are kept in a minus 270 degrees, so that these things are kept longer. So in the same way, when one has attained jhana, one can suppress the nivranas, and being free from the nivranas, being free from the heat of nivranas, the Brahmas can live longer. The Brahmas have a longer lifespan because these nivranas are suppressed through jhana. So if it has to be explained in detail, it will be very long, and Sayadaw will not be explaining in detail because Sayadaw does not want to emphasize on samatha, but Sayadaw would like to explain more on Vipassana. So today 1 hour is up. Sayadaw will continue the next day. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.